This video is brought to you by NordVPN. Welcome to another episode of Andrew Good Camera. As you can see, we are driving in the desert wasteland of Nevada to do some photography, but most importantly, to speak with you fine folks about today's topic. I'm excited to share with you some principles that I've learned. 10 principles, 10. I probably shouldn't take my hands off the wheel, which I've learned now that I've been a full-time content creator. I've learned some lessons. I'd like to share them with you. I want to intermingle that with some photos, some small town America rural photos. As you may or may not know, my focus has been and will continue to be rural decay, rural dystopia, rural architecture, however you want to call that, in the 65 to 24 ratio, that panoramic ratio, and completing that project, which will culminate in a book, a panoramic style book. So let's get to this town and I'll share with you point number 1, and then we'll take some gosh darn photos. Thanks for watching. Let's go. Your face when I said that. Are you still recording? I mean, it's kind of in the shade, but I kind of like this triptych of these 3 kind of structures here and the desert behind them. So, make for a nice panoramic. Lesson number 1 is that when I went full-time, I thought I'd be able to easily double my output, meaning twice as much content as I was doing before I went full-time. I was naive, and there's several reasons for that. Again, this is my unique experience, and others might have different experiences. I really thought that I'd have, a full 12 hours a day to focus on creating content and creating content alone. And what ended up happening was I added the weight of having to earn a living. Before, I had no pressure of needing to do that. I could just be creative. But now I had to, if I put out a video that didn't make any money, it was a complete waste of time in the sense of survival. It didn't provide for my family, so while that was fulfilling maybe, I couldn't justify it. So I had to have content that made money, and if I did not, it was a waste of valuable, precious time. Time became more precious than it was before, if anything. I couldn't take all the time in the world to create a video. I had to crank on it, and I had to make deals, and I had to make sure I had money coming through, and that takes a lot of time. It means that every video takes much, much more time to think about, can I justify this? Can it make money for me? Because if not, I can't do it. And so my output did not double. It increased a little bit, but that's about it. Hey guys, I want to tell you about today's sponsor, but I also want to tell you a story about when we got hacked. One time, Danae was using a public Wi-Fi doing some online shopping, Instacart, whatever else, minding her own business, and then a few hours later, I got a notification from my bank that there had been thousands of dollars of purchases made in Las Vegas. We don't live in Las Vegas. There had been these purchases made at several locations that we had never frequented. Sure enough, we had been the victim of an attack of some kind. We're thinking some sort of man-in-the-middle style attack that had happened when Danae was at that public location accessing our Instacart or credit card, something which gave them the ability to yeah, take advantage of us. So that sucked. It wasn't fun. It was stressful. And now we use NordVPN. Not only does this give us the added peace of mind knowing that all our intimate little details of our digital lives aren't about to be auctioned off to the highest online bidder, but we also feel safer knowing that NordVPN is encrypting our data flow, regardless of whether our destination connection is secure or not. For us, the amount of time it took to straighten out the mess of having our accounts become compromised, as well as the stress, frustration, and just the sense of having been violated, and that lingering concern of when it might happen again, it all makes it worth it for that small price it costs a month to protect our digital lives with NordVPN. Get an exclusive deal on a 2-year plan with my link, nordvpn.com/goodcamera. And that is a risk-free offer because NordVPN offers a 30-day money-back guarantee. So thank you, NordVPN, for sponsoring this video, but also bringing us some peace of mind. There is this beautiful ramshackle hut tucked back in this little property here, and then also this decrepit little boat. And I'd really like to go back in there and shoot them, but it's clearly somebody's land, or it was at one time. But the one thing about this town, all over on this road out here, is that there are no trespassing signs everywhere, and there's none here. So it makes me wonder, is it abandoned? Is anyone really gonna care if I sneak in there really fast? I don't know. I might sneak back in there, or maybe I'll try to find a different vantage point and just zoom in. The joys of having a zoom. See what I can come up with. All right, my son's playing video games and not recording for me like he was supposed to do. Teenagers, what can you do with them? Anyway, all right, what's the next lesson? I forgot, let me look. Lesson number 2. Lesson number 2 is that when you're full-time, subs don't matter anymore, or they matter a significant amount less than they did before. Subs matter a lot when you are doing it part-time or just for fun as a hobby, because that's how everyone measures your worth basically as a YouTuber. But subs don't matter when it comes to, or very little when it comes to making a living off of it. What does matter, views matter, of course. Views matter way more than subs, because that's all the advertisers care about, is how many views can you get. So subs can help get more views, but it's not the end all be all. Some of my best performing videos didn't convert to subs, and while that's a bummer, they were still my best videos, right? So as far as view count. So what we really care about is click-through rate, views. Those are the statistics that matter way more than subs. But there's one thing that matters way more than both of those, and that is your ability to secure deals and to deliver on those deals. Meaning, can you get sponsors? Can you negotiate a good rate with sponsors? Can you deliver what their expectations were? Make it a great experience for them, and at the same time, also fulfill the needs and the demands, or I guess the desires that your audience has. And that's tricky. That takes a lot of thought and effort, and you don't have time to worry about subs anymore in that equation. I like these two structures. This palm tree that's seen better days, this weeping palm tree, and this sign that has nothing to bear. It's a nice duality here. And I think I could get a nice vertical shot. I don't usually like to do vertical in rural decay, but in this case, I think that would lend itself to it. The problem is there's all this junk in the background and a freeway, and it might be kind of tricky to find a composition where I can crop out all the crap, but let's see what we can do here. So lesson number 3 is get an agent. I wish I had done this years ago. The beauty of an agent is that they pay for themselves, literally, especially if they're good. Even if you're small potatoes, because they will negotiate better rates for your sponsorships. They'll help get and secure sponsorships. They will pay for themselves and then some, with the time that it frees up for you, so you can just focus on creating. It's amazing, it's wonderful. Why didn't I do this years ago? I don't know. Don't make the same mistake I did. Also, guys, just while we're talking in the car, look at this baby man-child driving. He is driving a car. I'm an old man being driven around by a baby man-child. And while we're parked here in this, I don't know what we're parked in, parking lot, my son drove us to this place, and I'm sure we'll find something here. Lesson number 4 is cash flow makes it hard. When you have a full-time job, you can expect a paycheck every couple weeks or every month or whatever. When you're a content creator, you can expect checks only after you've delivered a video, and usually a month after for sponsors. And depending on the time of the month, you can expect a meager paycheck from Google AdWords. That's nothing to rely on as far as like a living. And for me also, there's affiliates. I do get a fair amount from affiliates, but nothing compares to the sponsors. The sponsors, that's what really pays the bills. It's absolutely essential. If you plan to go full-time, unless you have just millions of views, hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and can make money alone off of advertising or affiliate links, you're gonna have to have sponsors. There's no way around it. Now, you can make it at getting sponsors, but the thing you have to know is that cash flow is an issue. Cash doesn't come right when you deliver the video, right when you ink the deal. You have to deliver, and then you got 30 days or however long it takes for the sponsors to pay you after that. And it kind of sucks. It does mean it's hard to plan, and it's hard to know how the money's gonna come through. It's rough, I'm not gonna lie. That's one of the biggest challenges we've had, is that then we have to use credit sometimes to float us in between some of those paydays. Now, hopefully that'll improve as we have the steady flow of sponsorships. This is early days for the channel, but that's the reality of what I deal with right now, is dealing with cash flow. And by the way, I think I'll get a shot of this cool background here while I'm standing here, because it's kind of cool, the textures. I work more than full-time hours for less money than I did when I was working full-time, unless you factor in the fact that I had a channel and I was working that after full-time hours. It's probably about the same, actually. But either way, in general, I make less money now than I did when I was in software, and so that's a sacrifice you're going to make. Will I make what I was making again in the future? Maybe, hopefully, but that's the reality. And I would love to say that it's totally worth it, that every day is like I wake up just happy to be doing what I'm doing, but money can be stressful, I'm not gonna lie, and especially if you have a family and a lot of responsibilities, it's certainly been stressful for Danae. You know, my wife and my family, we can't do quite as many fun things. They don't understand why we can't eat out as much as we used to, and we have to say no more than we used to for the fun toys and the fun experiences. But that goes into the next lesson, which is you must have a supportive family, or supportive, whoever you live with. They've got to be supportive, or it won't work. It will probably hurt your relationships, and so that's something to factor in. I'm lucky that all those around me supported me in this decision. I'm lucky that Danae is with me on my desire to pursue this, even though as a household we see less income as a result, and that's stressful for her. I'm lucky that I have kids that are patient and they understand, and they're not spoiled rotten. they're great kids, and they understand why we can't do all the things we used to. They don't throw fits about that. As soon as I give that explanation or remind them that we don't make as much money as we used to, they're just so cool about it, and I'm grateful for that. So support is great, and if you don't have that, just be careful, because that could really seriously harm relationships that you have. And maybe it is more important or better for the relationships that you have that you focus on a full-time job that's going to pay more, and just do it as a hobby. Create content as a hobby. There's nothing wrong with that, and I thought I would go my whole life doing that. In some ways it's probably better, honestly. And then, yeah, that's good for now. We'll go take another photo. I mean, does anything really need to be said about this? This is just rural paradise perfection. This is what it's all about, folks. How appropriate for this next one that I found this, the bus to the School of Hard Knocks. And the next thing I want to tell you is that if your physical health or emotional health is not well, man, I don't know if I can recommend it. And let me get in the car here and finish this, because it's so hot out here. School of Hard Knocks. If your emotional health is not well, that's hard, because, and I do deal with seasonal depression. April is my month. That's when I really get down. I have a lot of depression, and all I want to do is sleep. I know that there are many of you that can identify with that. Fortunately, it goes away from me in about May, June. And the thing about that is, it's really hard to create content when you're emotionally distraught and when you're in the dumps and all you want to do is sleep. To get up out of bed and to have the motivation to get going, it's so hard. And I know I don't need to tell many of you that, but it was easier to have the motivation when I had a boss, right? When I had a full-time job and people who depended on me in that way. When I don't have set hours, when I have meetings to go to necessarily, when it's all up to me. I just have to get out of bed, get up, find the motivation to set up scenes and shots. I mean, it takes a lot of work. I look at my shop in the garage, my other channel, where I've got to be active and set up the scene, clean up from the last one, set up the bike, the tools, get everything organized, and then just to get shooting, just to prepare to shoot. It feels overwhelming. It feels like it's too much. And April, not gonna lie, I definitely took a hit as far as output. And if that's something you struggle with more chronically, more year round, I can't recommend it, because it's just going to be really hard. Those are some of the realities that I've had to face as I've been a full-time creator. Are you kidding me? Look at the beauty that is that vehicle.
What is that vehicle?
It is so beautiful. Wouldn't you be like the star of your high school if you could drive around in that, Ender?
Yeah.
The next lesson is significantly more cheery than the last lesson, and that is that, and I already kind of knew this, but working for yourself is so fun. It's so wonderful. I get so excited to wake up in the morning and be like, what do I get to create today? I have 2 channels, but I also do a lot of other interesting projects. I get to take on photo and video jobs for other people too, to help just kind of pad in the income. And it's just so fun to be able to take on jobs, creative jobs as they come, have that variety, but also just to decide every day what creatively you want to do. I also really enjoy working with sponsors. My bike channel is so fun in that regard because I get to work with all these cool bike brands that I've loved since I was a teenager. That's amazing, you know, that I get this stuff to play with, just big boy toys, and then I can make money doing it. It's so fun, and I really do enjoy not having a boss, especially after the bloodbath of tech that I've been seeing recently and that I was part of the last few years. So glad to be out of software right now. So this has been wonderful, a wonderful relief. It doesn't pay as much, for sure doesn't pay as much, but I've really been enjoying working for myself. I'm the best boss I've ever had. I'm forcing my son to get this shot. Don't worry, he'll get all the credit. Because I'm wearing sandals, I was not prepared today. I thought I would do most of my photography from the car. So I'm forcing him to get this shot for me because I think it'd be pretty cool. But I didn't want to trudge up there in sandals. All right, number 9, you guys, we're almost there, almost done with this massive list. So in tech, we learn the principle of reuse, and that is that if you're going to build a thing that does a thing, a function or an object that does something, you want it to be built in such a way that it can be reused as much as possible so that we're not rebuilding things over and over again. If things are similar enough, you'll build it once and then use variables to discern the differences. That is the principle that we use also, or should be using when it comes to content creation, because your time is absolutely so precious. So this is a great example of this trip. With my bike channel, I've been doing custom bike builds for wealthy people, which is great. It's so much fun to be able to build a dream bike for somebody, make their dreams come true, and in the process, vicariously, I get to play with that thing and hold it for a little while and create a video out of it. So that works great for my other channel. But because I do that, I need the gear, right? So I use the gear for the other channel, and then I can review that gear on this channel. That's a synergy. Another synergy is this trip was to deliver a bike to one of my customers, and he's in Las Vegas. I'm in St. George. It's a 2.5 hour drive to get to his house. So the synergy was drive it to his house, get paid to do that, but also on the way back, do this video, work on my project, build content that I can deliver to you folks, hopefully giving you value, entertainment. It's all synergy, as opposed to just driving straight out there, driving back, and wasting an opportunity to also create a video for this channel. So when it comes to content creation, because I've kind of trained myself to look for ways to reuse stuff, to use it on both channels, to make absolute best use of my time at all times, and reuse content for both channels, then I'm able to create more output, more value for everyone, really. Everyone wins, hopefully, if I'm doing it right. All right, folks, that is it. No, that's not it. I have one more. This is number 10, the final point, and that is...
Oh, the battery's almost dead.
The battery's about to die. The battery's about to die. We'll film it on a phone. I'm grateful for the fact that I had years and years to develop my style, to learn how to make money doing this, to learn what people want to watch and find interesting, all of that. And that's a delicate balance, and it's a lot of work, and it's not something that you can learn just by watching other creators, content creators. There are a few that get lucky and are able to be successful immediately, but by and large, most people can't do that. It takes a long time to learn. So I'm grateful that I had all that time before I did go full-time, because I was able to hit the ground running in many ways. Timing it, if you want to go full-time doing something like this, timing is everything. You don't want to start too soon that you don't know what you're doing and you crash and burn, but you don't want to start too late to where your momentum is starting to wane. And those are the 10 lessons that, even if you never plan to be a content creator, I hope you enjoyed hearing the perspective. And I really hope that you enjoyed watching the photography. If you like that sort of photography, please stay tuned, because that's going to be a book. Not all of those photos will, but some of those will be in a book that I plan to make, which I'm just so excited about. If you want to watch this ad-free and interruption-free and early in the future, become a patron of mine, and for $5 a month. And also you'll probably get discounts on other things, especially my namely book when it comes out. But yeah, if you don't like those pesky ads, then do that. But that's all for now, folks. As always, thanks for watching, and remember to do good with your cameras. Talk to you again real soon.